Hello everybody and welcome back to another Final Thoughts and timeline for a completed campaign. This one completed over on the Twitch channel. This was the first completed campaign of the Dharma DLC. And we are playing as Mewar, because there's a nice, super awesome, easy achievement as Mewar to complete all of the mission tree for Mewar, which is a bunch of missions that essentially are going to have us taking over. Let's start the timeline. Essentially going to have us taking over all of the sort of the Rajputana area. And I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly, but initially we came down here. We have missions mostly focus on taking over this area. However, some of the annoying alliance networks actually made it easier for us to kind of come around this way. These little bits ended up taking us the longest just because of the alliance network. The weird thing about how it started is Balmanis actually disappears very quickly. Delhi is going to go on a tear as well. It was weird because actual proper Delhi ended up winning out this time. So usually Delhi gets smashed by the vassal. This is, I guess, Delhi here. So Delhi's actually just doing amazing right now. It's funny because we're playing Delhi in the YouTube campaign, right? And this Delhi is just like, wow, they're killing it. But, you know, we end up beating up Malwa, which was kind of tricky. Orissa completely devours Bengal like it's nothing. Kale actually making a big gain. Oh, there goes Kale. Kale is gone. So at this point, we've allied Vijayanagar, though. At about this point, we're allied to Vijayanagar. We are a Hindu nation. So we have Orissa, Mewar, and Vijayanagar are Hindu nations. We have Delhi, Jaunpur, and, of course, Timurids and so on and so forth that are the Sunni nations. We grab a piece of Bengal, release it as our vassal. So this is now our vassal. Bishnupur is also our vassal. So these are two vassals that we're going to vassal feed over time here. Not the most ideal situation. Bishnupur was kind of like, having Bishnupur and Bengal next to each other wasn't ideal, but Bengal, I think we had Bishnupur before we had Bengal. Yeah, Bengal just seemed like a no-brainer because Bengal has tons of cores on a lot of this, plus they also actually get claims. They actually have missions to get claims. So we split Delhi in half. Once we finally went to war with Delhi and beat them up, it was no issue going back and just beating them up again. A lot of these smaller nations in here that we were beating up, it was just kind of cleaning them up. You know, it wasn't too much of an issue. This was really just a very bog standard game. We didn't make a lot of money in trade. We didn't colonize. We weren't going for any sort of like larger achievements or anything like that than just completing the mission tree, which basically we haven't quite completed it. Now we're gonna have to take all of Delhi, all of this bit over here, but once we get sort of all of this, once we get to the point where we can form Rajputana, we're pretty much gonna have the missions complete, and we're gonna finish the missions right before we actually do end up forming Rajputana, which is a new tag in this Dharma DLC. And we thought that would be an end tag and that we wouldn't be able to form Bara from that. But we ended up doing that. It apparently is not an end tag. So we are actually going to transition ourselves into Bara once we, Bara, Brat, I don't know how it's said. Someone in the comments can tell me. So Bengal actually was tricky to keep up. We wasted hundreds of prestige keeping this guy up. But one of the cool things was, Bengal, or we had so much positive prestige that we were bottoming out at 100, at least while we were the Rajputana. Once we, or at least while we were Mewar, I think once we switched over, we actually lost some of our yearly prestige, and we weren't quite bottoming out at 100, but it was very, very close. But yeah, Bengal had 700 or 800 development just in this little bit. The development here is insane. The economy that we had was mind-blowing. It was actually mind-blowing. I don't think I've ever played a nation and been making so much money in the year 1600. It was just, I mean, we have manufacturers in almost every single province. We have universities in almost every single province. It was insane. We ended up warring Vijayanagar about 3 times. Well, no, like 5, maybe 5 times to eat all of them. That was super easy because they can't really get any alliances. They're a Hindu nation. We're the only other Hindu nation pretty much in the world, not counting these guys down here, which they're insignificant. In other little nations, maybe up in this area still. So we did stay Hindu, and that was a lot of fun. I really like the Hindu religion. But we ended up fighting Ming, I think, 2 or 3 times in order to get more of the Burma land over here. Because Bengal, of course, had a bunch of claims and cores on this area. And then we ended up beating up the Timurids 2 or 3 times. The Timurids ended up doing a good job at sort of just kind of like creating their old 1444 start, to be honest, but then we sort of took some chunks out of it. A very bog standard game, but let's look at this economy here for a second. 200 ducats a month. That's with all level 5 advisors, which costs us 150 ducats a month. That's with a large military, but although we're not actually up to our force limit, we were a bit ago, but I guess the last few years it's come up quite a bit. Maybe we haven't actually built up to force limit since taking over Bengal. Maybe that's what changed. Or maybe Bara gives us some additional... I'm not sure. And none of this isn't as good as the Rajputana ideas, and I don't even know if the Rajputana ideas are as good as the Mewar ideas. The Mewar ideas are fantastic. Yeah, we were bottoming out at 100 at one point. So we ended up, trashing a bunch of heirs. We ended up using placate rulers on Bengal quite often. Bengal actually at 800 development at its height was actually kind of hard to keep tame, to be honest, even though they weren't large geographically. But we have a very small nation here, despite the fact that we have 3,200 development. Just crazy. We actually have available states. We do technically have 5 more states we could make, but I think when we were looking at the state list, the possible states, none of them were particularly high development. Just sort of, some junk out here, maybe some, little bits and bobs and stuff in here that aren't particularly valuable. Yeah, but that was a really bog standard campaign. We did end up getting a couple achievements. For some reason, this happened with our when we did the for some reason this happened when we did the French campaign. It removed the Mewar Never Changes, but we did get Mewar Never Changes, which is to complete all of the original mission trees. Maybe that's because we tag switched or something like that. We have it's actually really cool, some of the stuff that you get for Bara here. Like getting claims on all this, I mean, that's kind of neat. That's some kind of cool stuff. And then presumably, as you keep going through here, you continue to get, I don't know, on the Persia region, which is pretty cool. I guess that's all we get in addition. Well. Okay, do we get anything more for that? Yeah, we get all this. So we get all this, then we get all this. So that's some really cool little missions, actually. There's a really cool achievement that you can go for as this formed nation called The Sun Never Sets on the Indian Empire. But we weren't going for this initially. So it was kind of like, and you have to take London. And we weren't colonizing. Like, I'm not saying we couldn't do that. We don't even have imperialism yet. I don't know, I just think it's crazy that we're sitting here. Why is it saying 0 development? No, it's because we just hit this button. We literally just hit this button, so everything's waiting out here. This is who we were, this is who we are. So yeah, 3,200 development. I feel like at this point in the game is pretty dang good. I mean, we have 150 years left. No imperialism yet. Yeah, crazy. I don't know. I think considering we weren't trying to optimize anything, especially for the last like 30, 40 years, we weren't trying to optimize. We were trying to clean the borders up. Literally the last session was literally just cleaning borders, just making it look good. I think we did a good job, but that was a really fun initial bit, starting as Mewar. The estates here are pretty powerful. We weren't optimizing these at the end, but they're really, really powerful, really, really cool. It was very fun doing the Hindu as well. I'm a big fan of Hindu religion in this game. Really, really fun religion. So we had a lot of really great heirs, partly because of that. Yeah, just making tons of money. 550 income. Crazy. Crazy. 300 of that from production. So it's kind of cool because Mewar starts with the only gold mine in... yeah, the only gold in India. So that's a huge economic boon at the start. But then after that, now we're just making tons and tons and tons of money of all the manufacturers and stuff. If we look at this, let's just show this off. I mean, that's a lot of manufactories. That's a lot of manufactories. You know, we go to look at that. That's that's how many universities we have. I don't know, I just think that's crazy. I think that's like legitimately crazy. I mean, I'm just clicking buttons here because we got nothing else to do, but it's just, yeah, it's just nuts to me. Yeah, so thank you so much, everybody, for watching this Final Thoughts. There wasn't too much to talk about. We beat up Ming like 2 or 3 times near the end. We beat up the Timurids. We beat up Vijayanagara a bunch of times. We don't really have any alliances right now, although we were allied to Vijayanagara and then Athitai. Those were like our only 2 alliances pretty much the entire game. We had subjects. Basically, Bengal was the only meaningful subject we had, including Bishnupur. We could have optimized things, but this was just kind of like to try out some of the new mechanics. We did actually end up reforming to a theocracy, and then it reset all of this, and we were kind of, you know, it's just at the end we just hit the button to go to theocracy. Didn't have to do this. We didn't really, you know, I don't know, didn't benefit too much from this. We did get court and country. We did fire court and country. I think. Does it change because we tag switched or something? Huh. We got a very unfavorable result to the court and country, unfortunately, because I didn't understand quite how it worked. We didn't have enough absolutism when it ended, but it was a learning experience. It was the first time we ever did that on the Twitch channel. Of course, we did that successfully, very successfully in the French campaign. But yeah, we did court and country again. So we have, I mean, we had max absolutism within the first, I think, 17 years of the age, which is just crazy. At this point, we have a golden age going on, you know, that we've been using to beat up Ming. Of course, when we go into the Age of Revolutions, we'd have all kinds of amazing benefits there. Everything is totally good here. We could easily take over all of Asia just with complete ease at this point. But you know what? It's time to move on. It's time to move on. Now we're playing Sweden on the Twitch campaign, and it's going pretty rough, actually, considering Sweden's supposed to be an easy nation. And then we're also going to be continuing Delhi. And Delhi, of course, is going to be forming Hindustan. And we might actually go for, I don't know, spoiler alert, but we might actually try to go for the sun never sets on the Indian Empire. I don't know. The tricky thing about Delhi is because they're so landlocked, it won't, like, we won't have time to sort of skip around. We'll have to pick up exploration ideas late if we wanted to do something like that. So I don't know. But that one's been a more challenging starting as Delhi. For sure. So, but thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. I will see you guys in the next one. Glad that we could keep this a little bit shorter this time.